Alright, hello again. Well, today we're going to make up another kimchi dish. This is cucumber kimchi. I've heard it called by a number of different names, so I'm just going to stick with cucumber kimchi. Now, to go over the quick ingredients of what you're going to need, you're going to need some cucumbers. Now, I'm going to use pickling cucumbers. If you can hit an Asian market and grab an Asian cucumber, it's basically just a really long cucumber, longer than this. They work. You can also use standard salad cucumbers. I've made this with one of those before. The taste is a little different, the texture is a little different, but it still comes out just fine. You're also going to need an onion, a couple cloves of garlic, some either kosher salt or canning salt. You don't want the iodinized salt, you just want plain salt. Some people get sea salt flakes, it's just preference. Of course, you're going to need our chili powder, our crushed chili peppers, about 2-3 tablespoons. I'm going to add some minced garlic to it. You're going to need some roasted sesame seeds. Let's see if we can get a good look at that for you there. Okay, just like last time, some little roasted sesame seeds. You're going to need sesame oil. Yeah, I use a lot of sesame oil. It's possibly not good for me. And some honey. So, standard regular honey. Now, with all that said, we're going to go ahead and get started. Move all the ingredients we don't need out of the way. And first thing you want to do is, I don't know if you can see it on the board, you might be able to see a little bit of water on the board. Your cucumbers should be washed. Once they're washed, let's go ahead and cut them up. Now, I'm going to cut these both ways I've seen. I tend to take the ends off. Some people like them very thickly cut, which is fine. If you want to do them that way, go ahead and do them that way. Some people like to make this as stuffed cucumbers. I'm not so much into the stuffed side of it. And take them, just toss them in a little bowl. Other people like to do a slightly different, much thinner cut. Now the thick cuts are going to taste very different. What they do is they cut them at an angle. Oh boy, those are way too thick. Well, first thing to do is they cut their cucumber in half. So we've sliced up our cucumber, and I've sliced up probably too much cucumber. You might only want to use 3 or so for this. So we have our cucumber here. Don't need that knife. Okay, so here's our cucumber. So now we're going to take our, this much cucumber. Sorry for you to tell, of course. This is one of my Pyrex bowls. Let's see which one this is. It's more than 1 quart, so it's probably 1.5 quarts. So I mentioned getting your canning salt, your pickling salt. Break up any big chunks. Don't need big chunks. The lovelies of living in a humid environment where your salt just binds together. Now, some people say you should make this recipe fresh, which is basically make it right before you're going to eat, or you'd make it at lunchtime to have it with dinner. I'm of a slightly different mindset. I think you can make this and let it soak for a day in the refrigerator. Some people say leave this out, and with the step I'm about to do next, I disagree with that. I think you should refrigerate it. Alright, so we've got our salt here. We've got way too much salt here, actually. So I'm not going to use all of this. I just want to sprinkle a little bit on. And what this is going to do is, a bit like the mummies of old, is it's going to help draw some of the water out of the cucumber. So it's important to mix it, and do this gently. You don't want to bruise the cucumber up. what you just want to do is get a little salt on it. Move it around to try and coat the other pieces. And then when you're done adding the salt, you're going to soak this in, you're going to put this inside the refrigerator for a minimum of 15 to 30 minutes. I'm going to actually put it in the refrigerator for a couple hours, and then we'll come back after those hours have gone by, and you'll see what happens to my cucumber mixture. So you may already be able to see it happening, in that it's pulling the water out. Alright, so total salt I've added to this bowl of 1.5 quarts of cucumber has been about 2 tablespoons of salt. I'm going to mix them around, put this inside the refrigerator, and then we're going to come back in about 2 hours and see what we have. Alright, see you then. Now, rather than just waiting for that entire time to go by, we're going to use some of this time meaningfully. My cucumbers so far have been soaking for about an hour and a half, so I'm going to use this last little bit of time I have here. I'm going to take my onion, very carefully cut in half, set half to the side, and get rid of my little root end. Don't need that. And then I'm going to slice this up. Now this onion I don't want chopped, I don't want minced. I actually want this in rings. So if you saw the way I cut it, I'm cutting it now, will give me little half semicircle rings. And the reason why is I prefer this particular shape for eating this. And then I'm going to, little dry ends there. Don't really care for that. I'd already peeled it, but the onion was a little, I guess you'd say a little dry there at the top still. And then cut them in half again. Now take this immediately, drop into a small bowl. Oh, pull out your little green bits if you had any. Don't have to, but I do. No, not always. You can also use green onions for this. That works just fine. So you take them, put inside a small bowl like this. Let's see. I'm going to slice up the other half of this onion too. But go ahead and put cold water over this. And there we are, one chopped up onion, little semicircles, rings, soak in water, and that's going to help soak out some sulfur compounds so the taste of the onion is not as harsh. Alright, now one of the things I mentioned before and I was mistaken on it was when I went over the list of ingredients, I neglected to mention you're also going to need about 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Now you don't have to use apple cider vinegar, you could just use standard vinegar. But I prefer apple cider vinegar. And I said about 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds. They're sitting on top of my chili powder flakes. There's my sesame oil and vinegar ready to go. You could prep the garlic now or just wait. However, make sure you chop the garlic up. That's the dog coming in the room, of course. So our 2 hours have gone by. We've had our onions. They've been soaked for 30 minutes. I've drained them now, so they're ready. Here are our cucumbers taken out of the refrigerator. Now, might be a little hard to see here. I'll even turn to macro lensing. If you see, quite a bit of water has come out of there. This is now brine, as it's nice and salty. And our cucumbers will now be a little bit crisper. So what I'm going to do is, some people tell you you should drain the brine off of these. Some people say no, that you're going to use it. I tend to drain mine, so drain this very quickly. Now, some recipes you'll hear people calling for drying off the cucumbers once you've done that. I don't do that. The little bit of moisture they still have, they're definitely going to be a little bit of saltiness to them, but I'm not going to, dry them off completely. A little swirl there. Okay, I'm not seeing a water puddle up on it, so I'm going to leave it as is. And I take my onions, add them in. Maybe this is too much onions. Not sure yet. And yes, my hands have been washed. I'll mix them up a little bit. Let's see if this is enough onions. Maybe. that is enough. So I used about 3/4 of that onion that I chopped up. I got about 1/4 of it there. Maybe I'll make something with that tonight. Waste not, want not. Okay, so we've got all those. Now I have my other ingredients. I have my 2 tablespoons. Well, actually, that's a lot more than 2 tablespoons. How about 1 tablespoon of sesame seeds, 1/4 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon of minced ginger, those 2 garlic cloves, and I'm going to add all that in there just like that. And my seeds didn't want to come out. A little bit of moisture from the garlic. Okay. So we got all those. Now I have my tablespoon of sesame oil, 2 tablespoons of vinegar. Sprinkle that on there like this. I'll mix as it goes. And I'm going to mix this a little bit, and depending how it mixes up, I may just add some more vinegar. Probably won't add any more sesame oil. Can't really see the need for any more. A lot of people also tell you wear rubber gloves when you do this to avoid getting the peppers all over your fingers, because if you rub your eye later, it's going to hurt. So maybe I messed up. We'll find out later. That's one thing I'm a big proponent on when you're working in the kitchen, is washing your hands regularly. Like, I'm dumping in some honey. I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon total. And you can use sugar. You don't have to use honey. I just prefer to use honey for it. All right, about 1 tablespoon, maybe 2. Okay. And because I just handled this with my hands, I'm going to rinse off my hands again. Now this may also be something to think about if you have kids at home there with you, is this is something that you can make with the kids. Not out of kids, but with the kids. Because it's basically just, you know, chopping these up, adding this stuff, and then mixing it, where you'd want to definitely make sure they wash their hands after handling this. But it can get them in the kitchen and give them the opportunity to have made up a little bit of a dish themselves. So, that's basically it. I'm going to eat this piece. So you should be done. Mix it up. I'm going to wipe this off to clean it off a little bit and put it in the refrigerator exactly as is. This makes about 1.5 quarts of it, which this is enough for 4 or 5 people because it is just a side dish. So, hope you enjoyed it. Hope it looks tasty. If you make it, let me know what you think. If you've had it before, definitely let me know what you think of my recipe. If you've never had it before, try it out. Let me know what you think. All right, bye.